Hey everyone, today we will be report about the BF Skinner operant conditioning. I am sharing my kabilaw angay. And at the end of this lesson, our objectives is at the end of the lesson, you will be able to describe reinforcement and punishment in the context of operant conditioning. Second is differentiate of operant conditioning. Um, Theories of operant conditioning, analyze a research article about operant conditioning, and devise a teaching strategy of classroom application of operant conditioning. So, B.F. Skinner was born on 20th March 1994 and died on 18th of August 1990. He was an American psychologist, behaviorist, author, inventor, and social philosopher. So Skinner viewed babies as empty vessels which language has to be put into. Skinner believed that language acquisition is a cognitive behavior. Therefore, he proposed his very well-known operant conditioning theory. So now, we will be able to know what is operant conditioning. So operant conditioning is also referred as instrumental conditioning or RS conditioning. It is a method of learning occurs through rewards and punishment for behavior. Through operant conditioning, an association is made between a behavior and a consequence for the behavior. So through operant conditioning, an individual makes an association between a particular behavior and consequences. So example of operant conditioning. So children completing homework to earn a reward from a parent and a teacher. Second, employees finishing project to receive praise or promotions. And third, a child who lost receives privilege because he took out of turn in class. So we will be able to know that if you do good in your activities, you will be able to receive a certain reward, or it will be reward or it will be a punishment. So that's the theory of B.F. Skinner. So Skinner used the term operant to refer any active behavior that operates upon the environment to generate consequences. Again, it's either a positive or a reward or it is a punishment. So components of operant conditioning, reinforcement, it is a kind of stimulus that aims to increase the strength in behavior due to its consequences. So, when we talk about punishment, in any event causes a decrease in behavior. So, type of reinforcement. There is a positive and negative reinforcement. So, let's talk about first what is the positive reinforcement. So, positive reinforcement are favorable events that are presented after the behavior, or it was a reward learning. And the second thing is the negative reinforcement. It is a response or behavior strengthened by stopping, removing, or avoiding a negative outcome or aversive stimulus. Next, when is positive reinforcement most effective? So when it occurs immediately after the behavior, when the reinforcement is presented enthusiastically and frequently. Example of positive reinforcement. After executing learning plan, the principal said, "Great job." A student answered all the items correctly in the unit test. So the teacher said, "You are exempted from the periodic exams or periodic test." Negative reinforcement. So the example of negative reinforcement. So you can leave your house early to avoid being late. You clean up your mess in the kitchen to avoid a fight with your roommate. So when is negative reinforcement most effective? It is most effective when reinforcement are presented immediately following a behavior. And that's all. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Jian J. Banawan, and now I will continue the discussion. So, positive punishment is something is added to decrease the likelihood of a behavior. Example here, the parents scolding a child for fighting with their siblings. So that means you give something that he or she doesn't like. So, example na imong gikasukan imong anak kay kanang nakig-away sa iyang manghod. So, imo siyang gitagaan og trabaho na dili niya gusto. So, example, manghugas siya taman buntag, padulong gabi, di ba? So, you give something that he or she doesn't like. So, that we called a positive punishment. And now, we are here in negative punishment. So, something is removed to decrease the likelihood of a behavior. So, example, the child losing iPad privilege after refusing to eat vegetables. So, you remove what she or he likes. So, ang bata na siya favorite thing, which is ang iPad. So, but because of dili siya mukaon og vegetables, imo siyang gi-remove iyang favorite thing. Okay? So, makasik-in sa ihang mind nga, dapat mukaon ko og vegetables para dili kaon sa ako ang akong favorite thing. So, that we called a negative punishment. Okay? So, next we have here in reinforcement schedule. So, in reinforcement schedule is reward which increasing the behavior of the student, positive and negative or of reinforcement. So, that means merong schedule sa pagbibigay ng reward or reinforcement. So, dalawang klase po yan. First, we have the continuous schedule. In continuous schedule, reinforcement is given every time the animal gives the desired response. So, students receive feedback after each response concerning the accuracy of their work. So, when we see continuous, is makahatag dayon ka og feedback. Okay? Makahatag ka og reward sa imong estudyante. So, example na pinipraise natin siya after sa ihang correct na answer, we can say very good, or we can do clap your hands for mga something nana. So, pinipraise natin after the correct answer. So, that we call continuous schedule. So, next, intermittent schedule is the reinforcement is given irregularly as the animal gives the desired response. So, students are not allowed on every time when we raise their hands, not praise after working each problem, and not always they are behaving appropriately. So, intermittent schedule is also known as a partial. Okay? It talks about the response is reinforced. So, if imong estudyante is nag-volunteer siya og answer, so depende sa'yo kung imo siyang i-praise. Okay? So, that we call the intermittent schedule. So, there are 4 schedules of reinforcement. So, first, we have the fixed interval. So, the time interval is constant from one reinforcement to the next. Appreciating a student answer is done for the first response made after 5 minutes. So, ang fixed interval, that means is naka-fix na po yung oras niya or time niya. So, ang teacher naghatag siya og time or hagatag siya or essay. So, dapat it should be done in 5 minutes. So, dapat 5 minutes, nauman na siya, finish or not finish. So, fix na po yung time. So, another example is ang teacher naghatag siya og chapter test. So, noon siya muhatag og chapter test every Friday. So, again, fix na yung time. So, next we have the variable interval. So, the variable interval is the time interval is constant from occasion to occasion around some average value. So, the first correct response after 5 minutes is reinforced, but the time interval varies, example, to 2 to 3 or 7 or 8 minutes. So, that means ang variable interval is the average amount of a time. Again, the average amount of a time. So, ibig sabihin po nun, hindi po naka-fix yung time niya. Example, naghatag ka og essay nga 5 minutes, so imo silang gitagaan another 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Paiba-iba. So, Another example is humana ka sa imong lessons, so maghatag ka og quiz. So depende sayo kung unsa nga day ug unsa nga time imong magpa-quiz ka sa ilaha. So paiba-iba po. So that we call the variable interval. So next we have the ratio schedule. In ratio schedule is reinforcement is given depending on the number of the correct response or the rate of responding. So the teacher give praise to a student after reciting the 5 correct answer. So that means the ratio in short is talk about the number. Okay? Talk about the number. So ang teacher naghatag siya og praise or um, after na sa correct answer. After 5 correct answer. So that we call the ratio schedule. So next we have the fixed ratio. So fixed ratio is a fixed number. Okay? So every incorrect the response is reinforced wherein in is constant. Every 10 correct response receive reinforcement. Example, si teacher naghatag siya og reward. So iyang reward is candies. So if maka-answer siya og 10 correct answer, fix po na 10 po ihatag niya nga candies. Okay? Dili siya pwede muhatag og duha or tulo. So 10 correct answer, muhatag siya og candies. So, binibigyan mo siya ng reward after the correct response. So, that we call the fixed ratio. Next is we have the variable ratio. So, every incorrect response is reinforced, but the value varies around an average number n. So, a teacher may give feedback periodically around an average of 5 completed assignments. So, si teacher na siya time nga mahatag og assignment, mohatag siya og 5 completed assignments. So dapat ana nga time, so imo siyang buhaton. So variable ratio, that means the average number. Okay? So hindi po naka-fix yung pagbibigay ng reward. So you give the reward after the average number of the correct response. So that we call the variable ratio. So in this first schedule, so we've learned that we have to appreciate na sumasagot ang ating mga estudyante. So, pero we teacher, muhatag taog tamang word, tamang response, at tamang reward. Diba? So, if ato ang estudyante makita na nga magaling talaga, so we can say na very good. Okay? Another student maka-answer siya, but not clearly ihahang answer, but we can say tamang word na good. Okay? So, yes, we do appreciate, pero dapat may tamang level sa pagbibigay ng reward or response. Okay? So, that is the reinforcement schedules. So, next we have the punishment. So, whose main aim is to weaken the response. Positive punishment is an addition of an unpleasant stimulus to decrease the behavior. And negative punishment is the removing of rewarding stimulus to decrease the behavior. So, what is the relationship of reinforcement and punishment? In positive reinforcement, adding something to increase the behavior. So, that means the more ka nagbibigay ng reward, mas lalo nilang ginagalingan. How about in positive punishment? Is adding something to decrease the behavior. If ang imuhang estudyante is saba kayo, so naghatag ka nilag quiz. So imbes 20, imuhang gihimog 40. Okay? Or another, you can add project sa ilaha na ayaw nila. So next, we have in negative in reinforcement is subtracting something to increase the behavior. So example here, teacher naghatag siya og quiz. So miingon si teacher, if ma-perfect ninyo ang inyong quiz, wala na mo'y final exam. So nagtatanggal ka na sana i-reinforce nila. So that we call the negative reinforcements. How about in negative punishment? Subtracting something to decrease the behavior. So that means nagtatanggal or you remove. If example, imuhang bata is nakig-away, di ba? Or na siya gibuhat na dili maayo. So ihang gusto siya magdula sa gawas, but dili nimo siya padulaon. Okay? So imo siyang gi-remove ihang gusto unta magdula sa gawas. So makasik-in sa iyang mind na dili na siya dapat mag pasaway. So para makagawas na siya, free na siya sa makadula sa gawas. So na ay changing. Okay? Next, Alternative to punishment is a punishment is often applied in school to address disruption. In Maang 2001 enumerated some common punishment like loss of privilege, removal from the classroom, in and out of school, suspension, and expulsion. In changing the discriminative stimuli, move misbehaving student away from the misbehaving student, and allow the unwanted behavior to continue, have student who stands when or she should be sitting continue to stand, and extinguish the unwanted behavior, ignore the minor misbehavior so that it is not reinforced by teacher attention. In condition an incompatible behavior, reinforce learning progress which occurs only when the student is not behaving. So next, what is the educational implication of operant conditioning? Operant conditioning can be used for shaping behavior of a children by appropriate use of reinforcement or rewards. So that means we can choose the proper reinforcement or reward to our students. So next is a teacher can use this theory to eliminate the children's behavior or fear. So yes, it is a way of a teacher that this theory dili sila mahadlok sa imuha. Okay? So next, a teacher can inculcate a spirit of discipline in children with the help of this theory. So yes, ang teacher, we can create the right discipline sa iyahang sa atong mga estudyante. Okay? Next, the parents and teacher both can use this theory to develop good habits in children. So yes, it is useful for our parents and teachers para ma-develop or enhance or sa parents mas mailapan nila ilang mga anak. So next, if the student is not serious in study, teacher may use the negative reinforcement to change the behavior of the child towards his or her studies. So if a teacher makita niya iyang estudyante nga dili siya serious sa iyang pag-eskwela, ang teacher makakita siya og way or technique or use na negative reinforcement how to change the behavior. So, magamit niya ang reinforcement schedule. So, that's all about my discussion. Again, this is all about the operant conditioning by Burrhus, Fredric. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and God bless.